Frank said, he said he was reading something so he wouldn't cry. I'm just going to cry. I just wanted to let you know in advance. This is my Easter. Next week, after preaching, I think by the time I leave tomorrow, it'll have been 14, 15 times in 8 days. I'm not preaching anywhere. I'm going to be sitting in a city in Texas in a church where I don't know anybody but my kids, and I'm going to be sitting by my granddaughter, and that'll be wonderful. But what we've been a part of this week and being here with you, this is really Easter to me. And I just want to thank you. See, when you travel 200 days a year like I do, and I'm not complaining, I choose it, I love it, I'm called to do it. I'd be disobedient to God if I didn't. Every now and then, you just want people to know you. And you may not be aware of this. Mike, you may not know this. There's 2 churches in this world where over the last decade I've preached at least every year once. And you're one of them, and the other's my home church that I helped plant years ago. I love when Mike said he doesn't need to be introduced. Unless you're new since this time last year, you already pretty much know me, and my wife would be here, except she just texted me literally 5 seconds ago. It's at home. She's been watching our granddaughter in a play. She's a little lion in The Lion King. She's quite a little actress for a young lady, 5th grade. But she couldn't be here because that was priority. But I look out at faces I know, some of my great life experiences. Brother, I hadn't got a chance to hug you yet. You guiding me and my son when he's 16 to shoot that bear with that arrow. I mean, Mike and I, laughed and cried together. I see other faces. In personal relationship and personal sharing and things that have been very, very special to me. There's a few of you in here that know things in my life that almost nobody else in the world knows. In many ways, you are a home church to me. So I just want to say thank you. See, I'm crying already. Okay. And this week has been astonishing. I don't even know what to say about it. It's things you don't even still know. Okay, so there were 15 people as a part of that, 60, that are either from my church, from my former ministry, Life Action, or in relationship with me in ministry. Do you know how many of them I invited to be there? That would be a 0. And a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to my wife and I'm saying, this is going to be our longest time apart until August. And I know this is great. I love it. I know, but this is going to be really hard. Like I'm not going to be with basically anybody that I know except when I get to Salmon. And then I start getting calls from people. Hey, you're going to Idaho? We're going to Idaho. I said, you're going to Idaho? What? TC and Danielle were sitting in our living room, 2 weeks ago? Something like that. I wasn't even sure he's out of the hospital yet, and telling us they're going to be in Idaho. And when God does something like that, 15 people who know each other, serve together, love each other, show up, and nobody coordinated all that. It just happened. I want you to be encouraged because God's up to something. And let me just tell you something else about why this is my Easter. I want to tell you, in just about every Bible Belt church I know, a pastor that just did what your pastor did wouldn't last long in that church. He'd probably be called in by the deacons later that day. Because you know what you just did? You just spent, how long was that, Mike? 45 minutes? About a city 2.5 hours from you. And the problem with the churches in the Bible Belt, the problem with the Western church is that we've made it all about self. And if a pastor were to stand up and say, we're going to rejoice together, we're going to pray together, we're going to give ourselves away, we're going to be here longer than we normally are, because we're going to talk about a city 2.5 hours from us. People be going, what about me? What about my needs? Because that's what it's. The Bible Belt churches have become, many of them, maybe I would say most of them, more like spiritual country clubs. When I come here, I never feel that. I know I won't feel that. I know I won't experience it. And so I want you to be encouraged. I want you to know God's hand is upon you. You're not the stepchild of the beautiful big churches in the South. You are the model for what church is meant to be. And I take that and share it everywhere that I go. It was also astonishing to me to hear everybody in my group, everybody that knows me, everybody that I serve with, say, John, I don't know what you're going to do. We're back. We're here. We're not going to leave these folks alone. We're not going to. This is not a one and done for us. I mean, I'm just smiling inside my heart. Because the last time I was with you, I was president of Life Action Ministries. In October, we left it. And, when you do that, usually you're mad at somebody or somebody's mad at you. We're not mad at anybody. We were back at Life Action headquarters doing a conference last weekend, 2 weekends ago, before I came here. And but God shared with us very, very specifically. It was a painful decision, but it was not hard. Because He shared with us, I only want you to do 3 things. And I couldn't do that being president of Life Action. So I only want you to do 3 things. I want you to help churches and families who want to go after Jesus in unique ways, who are not satisfied with what Bible Belt Church has become. Well, here I am with you guys. And number 2, I want you to help missionaries and pastors and church planters to stay healthy in their souls so they don't quit. And God is opening doors for us to do that all over the world. But since we made the decision to leave, we've done the first intensive church planter conference with our partner ministry 2 weeks ago in Salt Lake City. The third thing, I sense the Lord saying, we're entering a time of collegiate revival, and I want you to pour yourself into it. Shortly after we said yes to that, I was invited to speak to the Resonate conference. You know what Resonate is? It's Pacific Northwest churches started on college campuses. I didn't know a single solitary thing about it. And through a strange God relationship, I ended up getting invited. They changed the whole schedule. I was invited in December and the conference was in January. And there's 1,500 students in Spokane, Washington. And I'm speaking to them, and after it, we agreed we're going to partner together with them. You know what that's going to do? That's going to keep me up here in the Northwest. A whole lot. And then after that, a man said, well, hey, and he's on our donor team. He said, God has led me to build a retreat center where we can have conferences. And it's finished this summer. The very first leader training for marriage that we're going to do for Resonate is going to be in August in Washington. And I didn't know anything about that until we said yes to the Lord to start this new ministry. And now you just heard, we need college students. Well, the church that TC and Danielle and I are a part of, God is busting out the seams, and it looks like it's going to move to the campus of the University of Tennessee. We're going to take those students and help you, but I got students in the Pacific Northwest right now that can help you. Okay? All of this stuff has happened since I was with you since October. I know that God is at work in very, very unique ways, and I want to be in on it. When I played that song for Mike and sent it to TC and Danielle on Friday, I want you to think about this. 48 hours ago, this song was released to the body of Christ. There's been one Lord's Day since then. It's right now. You are the first people in 1,800 years to sing it on the Lord's Day. You and whoever else had a worship leader who was committed enough to figure it out and learn it in 24 hours. There are not going to be many of those. You just joined the body of Christ who suffered and died and were persecuted for you so that you could hear the gospel one day and sang those words for the first time in 1,800 years. But we sang it first. We shared it. We sang it first over Rexburg because before I preached, I walked around the entire place playing that song like that. Because did you hear the lyrics? To the risen King, to the only God, to the risen King. Those words written by God's people 1,800 years ago in the city of the King. I walked around the 3-4 hours after it was released to the body of Christ, playing it over the city of Rexburg. These are the things that I'm seeing God do. And I'm just very, very thankful to be here and be a part of it with you. Pray for our ministry. It's called Passion Promise Ministries. Since I think you're stuck with me and going to be here with you at least once a year, you'll be hearing more about it. But pray for Passion Promise Ministries as we do those things that are before us. I want to talk to you today about when troubles come. And I know it's late, but I thank you for being here and being willing to stay late today, because I think this may help us. If it doesn't help anybody else, I think it's helped me. This is a new message that God has placed upon my heart just in the last few months. Except in my home church, I believe the only place that I have preached it is here, and it's only in the West. I just preached it in Arizona as well in a conference that I was in earlier this week. And let me just start out by saying, I don't need to tell you that it's hard here. It's hard here to be a follower of Jesus, but it's more than that. It's more than that. I've been trying to understand this, and I'm studying it, and I'm still studying it. I'm talking to the Lord about it, but I want to tell you, if you want to be on the front lines, of what God is doing, suffering comes with it. Sometimes suffering that's beyond understanding. I don't get it. I want to stand here today and tell you, don't worry, it's all going to get easier, but I'd be lying to you. A few of you know that in earlier life I was over military and government chaplaincy, law enforcement chaplaincy for Baptists, and I love that, and it reflects some things that have been very important in my life, and still have an opportunity to counsel and serve with and help some people who have defended us, who have done dark things in dark places for godly reasons to protect all of us. So don't you appreciate those people? Let me tell you what I've never heard from a special forces soldier that I've talked with. I've never heard anybody say something like this. You need to talk to me. You need to help me because I'm out here in this God-forsaken place, and they want me to get up really early this morning, but it's really cold, and I'm hungry, and I'm really tired. I just want a nap. And you know what else, John? They're shooting at me. Never heard that once from anybody. But some of the guys that I counsel will say something like this: I don't know how to live when I'm not on the front lines. I don't know how to live without a mission. If you're going to follow Jesus here, you don't have to worry about that. You are on the front lines. And it's not going to be easy. And when you face trouble and pain and sorrow and suffering, what you need to remember is you are a part of a history and a heritage of 2,000 years. And the Lord's going to explain it all one day. There's going to be no more suffering left very, very soon. But while we're here, it's up to us to embrace it and say, Lord, I would rather go through troubles and suffer than be back in the back of the pack, not doing anything that matters in your kingdom. Okay, we've been real serious. Let me be funny for a minute here because I don't know if you'll think it's funny, but it cracked me up. All right, so when our grandchildren get to be certain ages, we have a strategic grandparenting method where we try to save money but do it as cheap as we can and take them to do something very special. I do the boys, Donna does the girls. So our grandson turned 6 years old. He'd been so excited because he knew we were going to do this. And so I said, what do you want to do? It can't be just anything. We got to be able to afford it. He said, I want to fly on an airplane with you. Fly on an airplane. Well, I got all kind of points. We can do that for free. And he didn't care where it was. We flew from Knoxville to Atlanta. It's 33 minutes, but he thought that was the coolest thing in the whole world. And then when we got there, we went to like a water park. I mean, for him, it was amazing. So we get to the airport. He's never done anything like this. And I said, hey, I got something special for you to tell you. We're going to get on the plane first. Well, that's because I fly 200 days a year, and they roll out the red carpet for me, And he said, we're going to get on first. I said, yep, we're going to get on first. And so they start boarding the plane, but I kind of forgot. I should have told him. They said, if you need special needs, then you board first. He said, I thought we boarded first. And I said, well, this is just going to be people that can't walk or something like that. They're going to help them. And so he said, okay. So they got one elderly man in a wheelchair, okay, and we're right behind him. Okay, he's boarding and we're boarding right behind him. So they wheel the wheelchair down the ramp and they get to the door of the plane. And we're standing right behind him. My grandson is wired up like this. And all of a sudden, the old man in the wheelchair slowly stands up and starts to go on the plane. And my grandson shouts for everybody to hear, hey, you can walk! Now I want to tell you, if you're going to be at the front, if you're going to be at the front of the line in the kingdom of God, there's going to be troubles. Okay? But that's okay because it's worth it. Jesus modeled for us what to do when troubles come. It's halfway through his ministry, 18 months in, and he's been blessing and healing and teaching, and the crowds had gathered. But then he really stepped in it. Now, he knew what he was doing, of course. But he healed somebody on the Sabbath in Luke chapter 6. And all the religious people, with all their rules, said, "What are you doing?" And then he said something, and he knew what would come from this. He said, "Don't you get it? The Son of Man," a messianic term. They knew he was talking about himself. "The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." He might as well have looked at them and said, "Don't you know you're looking at God? Heretic!" And here's what happened immediately after that. Luke chapter 6, verse 11. "But they were filled with fury." I mean, they're in the presence of love itself. And they're angry. And they discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus. So, let's see what Jesus does when all hell breaks loose. When all hell breaks loose against you, what do you do? Here's what Jesus did, verse 12. "So in these days he went out to the mountain to pray. And all night he continued in prayer to God. And when day came, he called his disciples and chose from them 12, whom he named apostles." The one who holds the universe together called 12 friends together that couldn't hold themselves together. Simon, he named Peter, Andrew, his brother James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon, who was called the Zealot, Judas the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. And he came down with them. It's so beautiful. He came down with them from the mountain and stood on a level place. This is called the Sermon on the Plain, very similar to the Sermon on the Mount. So here comes Jesus with his friends, his best friends. And now all heaven breaks loose while all hell is breaking loose among them. And I just want you to hear that. You just heard about heaven breaking loose in the most lost city in the country. It's because of you. So if all hell seems to be breaking loose against you, you're following right in Jesus' steps. A great crowd of his disciples, a great multitude of people from all Judea, Jerusalem, the seacoast of Tyre and Sidon, who came to hear him and be healed of their diseases. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were cured. And all the crowd sought to touch him, for power came out from him and healed them all. A.W. Tozer, one of my favorite authors, said this: "It's doubtful whether God can bless someone greatly until he wounds him deeply." Now again, I can't explain it all to you. I can't tell you why, but this is the way God has always worked. And suffering appears to be necessary if we want to be on the front lines of what God is doing. I love this. The Archbishop of Canterbury once said this. He said, "Everywhere the Apostle Paul went, there was either a riot or a revival. Everywhere I go, they serve tea." You're okay, church. I know some of your stories. I know what some of you have been through and what you're going through. You're okay. Because the Lord is with you. And you're not in a place where people just serve tea. And I think you're going to see some riots. And I also think you're going to see revival. This is the only sermon I've ever preached that was inspired by karaoke. So when I'm on vacation, I sing to my wife. It's one of the things we teach in marriage. Some of you have heard us teach our marriage stuff, and we teach, do the things you did at first. Why in the world do we think our marriages are going to be strong when we act like it's not necessary to court each other, you know? And so I used to sing to my wife. I'd stand beneath her dorm room in college and sing to her. And she wasn't sure she liked it because all the other girls were looking out at me too, and you know. So but I'd stand there and sing to her. So I still sing to her. I find karaoke. Wherever we go, I find some kind of karaoke. I mean, we'll be the Baptist family in the bar if it takes it, so we can go sing karaoke so I can sing to her. And so I'm listening to karaoke. Let me tell you, nobody can sing usually at karaoke. It's really bad, but it's fun, you know. It's okay to sing bad at karaoke. But if you can't sing, don't sing "You Raise Me Up" by Josh Groban. Do not do it. Every time you go to karaoke, somebody tries, and it's always horrible. So this guy's singing this, and I'm going, "Oh, Lord, this is so bad. I just can't take it anymore." And I sense the Lord say, "But are you listening to the lyrics? I don't even know if this song was written about a person or about the Lord, but listen to it. When I am down and oh, my soul is so weary." Ever feel that way? Maybe like now? When troubles come. That's the title of a sermon. and my heart burdened be, then I am still and I wait here in the silence. That's what Jesus did. Until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There you go. So let's see what Jesus did when his troubles came, and let's do that. That's a pretty good plan, right? Let's do what Jesus did. So all hell's breaking loose against him. What does he do? He pursues the victor instead of the victory. He pursues the victor instead of the victory. Now that's what we need to do. Again, in the Bible Belt church of our day, it's not true overseas. Overseas church knows that we're going to suffer, and this is about the glory of God and the advance of His kingdom, not us first. But for us in the West, it's very tempting for us to kind of develop all of our own strategies to win. And we got to have, how many books are there on how to win at life, how to win at this, and how to win at that? It's not what Jesus did. Jesus didn't develop the top 10 ways for His disciples to defeat their enemies, the top 10 ways to deal with stress. He didn't do that. He went to the mountain, and then He brought them with Him, and He spent all night with His Father. Can you imagine the triune God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, who we just sang about for the first people to sing it in 1800 years? That's what Jesus did. And if Jesus did it, we need to do it. Have an oasis in your life. Have a place where you can go when you really need to be with the Father because you have no place else to be that's going to help. And you say, well, I'm too old to go hike up a mountain or something like that. That's fine. You know, if I lived out here, I could drive up the dirt road here somewhere and have an oasis and park. But have a place that's yours. Have a place that's yours. When we decided to go to start this new ministry, I will tell you, it's been scary. Starting a new 501c3, we got to raise all kinds of money. We're serving people all over the world. Lord, how? 65 years old, man, it was scary. But I went to my oasis. It's a place in the Smoky Mountains. If you ever come here and you can hike 9 miles, I'll be glad to take you. And I went there and met with God, and it was crystal clear. God is giving the victory, but it only came through knowing the victor. And I think Jesus was afraid. Now, if that sounds weird to you, remember, the one we worship is God. He's fully God, but He's also fully man. It's the greatest mystery of all the universe. And it's easy for us to think about Him as fully God, not as easy to think about Him as fully man, but He was. Remember Gethsemane? Here's why I think He was afraid. This is the first time that He knows now they're coming for me. I know what they're going to do. I know why I've come. I'm going to die the most torturous death in the history of the world, but I'm going to do it with the sins of all mankind hanging on my shoulders. Remember Gethsemane? Father, if there's any other way, if we missed something, is there any other way that this could be done? And he's sweating drops of blood. He's crying and weeping alone. Well, this was the beginning of the road to Gethsemane. I think Jesus was afraid. And he went up on that mountain to be with his Father, the great victor. And that's what we need to do too. I've always wondered, how in the world? I've told you stories about, I've written whole books about the persecuted church and how in the world do they have this power and this joy? It makes no sense. It makes more sense to me now than it did even 4 months ago. I told you I was asked to speak at the Resonate conference. I went to Spokane, Washington to do this. Thinking about you guys because I wasn't that far away, you know. Also, while I was there, I had meetings in Idaho, not that far from you. Didn't have time to be with you, but it was amazing. But when I got to Spokane, the first night I was there, I had the most demonic dream I've ever had in my life. And I sleep well. I was a chaplain at Ground Zero. Occasionally I'll have a PTSD dream where I'll see in my mind what I saw there, crushed Americans, you know. But normally, I just sleep like a baby. And I'm having dreams that are very different from, I call my wife literally in terror. And she would comfort me and really counsel me and say, well, that was a lie. That wasn't real. That's from the enemy. That's not from God. And night number 2, same thing. Night number 3, same thing. And I'm not sleeping, and I'm just wiped out. And I'm preaching, I think, one of the most significant opportunities I've ever had. Do you know of those 1,500 students here in the most lost region of our nation, 60-something% of them had just met Jesus, y'all. God is moving on our campuses. These are new believers. And the other 40% are the ones that led them to Jesus. It was astonishing. And so 3 months ago, Friday, at 2:30 in the morning, after another horrific demonic dream, I'm laying in bed at 2:30 in the morning going, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening to me. And in that moment, my heart went crazy. I can't even explain it. My heart went nuts. And I knew something was desperately wrong. My wife had given me this little thing called a cardio mobile. I don't have heart problems. I don't have any heart problems. She goes, we're getting old. Carry it with you just in case. Oh, whatever. Threw it in my backpack. It'd been there about 3 years. I didn't even know where the thing was or if it worked. But I pulled it out, and it said I had a dangerous arrhythmia. Called my brother, who's a doctor, sent him a screenshot. He said, you need to get to the hospital right now. Oh, what? And I said, not yet. I knew what my brother was saying, that I could die at any second. So I walked the hallway of the hotel room, of the hotel, saying, Lord, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I don't know, what are you doing? And suddenly I realized something that I have no way to explain. He took away my fear. Now listen, I know what it is to be afraid. I get afraid on a regular basis. When I'm overseas in some of these places we go, it's very easy for me to be afraid. And I'm walking the hall of a hotel room, and I'm going, hotel, and I'm going, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. My doctor brother just, you could die. I'm not afraid. And I thought, if I'm going to die, I'm going to finish well. So I got to the hospital, and I walked in. I showed them the screenshot, and they didn't even want my insurance. They just grabbed me and put me in a wheelchair and took me away because they thought I was in really deep trouble too. As the cardiologist comes in and they're running all these tests, my brother's on the phone, the cardiologist is talking to me. Finally, they said, here's what it is. There's something that's happened with this EKG you took, and it's not as bad as it looks. You have something called atrial fibrillation. You could die of a stroke, but right now, we're going to get you on these blood thinners. You're not going to die of a stroke, but we have to correct this. I said, I'm not dying? He said, no, you're not dying. And nothing really changed. I started sharing the gospel as soon as I got there with everyone in the room. I'm sharing the gospel with the nurse. I'm sharing the gospel with the doctor. I'm sharing the gospel with the ER doctor, with the cardiologist, sharing with everybody. And my heart was overflowing with joy, even though it was beating like an orchestra out of tune. They're hooking me up into all this stuff. And they said, we're going to admit you, get medicine in you, get this, get this taken care of. It'll take a while. I said, no, I'm speaking to 5 universities in 5 days, and I'm going to be on an airplane in about 6 hours going to Florida. And they all laughed. They said, sometimes your plan's got to change. You're going to be here getting this dealt with. I said, let me repeat one more time. And my brother's on the phone. He knows, and he knows they're not going to win an argument with me. He goes, tell him to cardiovert you. And I said, my brother says, cardiovert me. And he said, well, we can, but the first thing we would really want to do is get you on these medicines. I said, cardiovert me. I said, by the way, what is that? They said, well, you know how they shock people's heart to bring them back to life? We'll shock your heart. I said, okay, I got a plane to catch. I mean, I'm telling you, this is only God. I'm not afraid. I just know He's given me what I need to do, and I'm ready to go do it. And they said, no, we got to put you to sleep. And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm watching the propofol go in my veins, and I'm going down the tube to my veins, and I'm sharing with the nurse that I've been talking to most. And she goes, I'm so glad for the things you're telling me. It really means a lot to me because I try to do one good thing every day so that one day I can go to heaven. Oh, no. I said, no, sweetheart, listen. Jesus has done the only good thing that can ever save you. He died for you. He rose for you. He can come into your heart right now. And that's the last thing I remember. I'm literally sharing the gospel when, bonk, I go right unconscious. And I wake up a short time later and I go, You guys did it. Man, my heart feels great. Unhook me. I got a plane to catch. And I said, no, we're going to make you wait a while. They made me wait like 2 hours, But on the way out, this nurse comes over to me. She goes, I got to run because I got a code, but I want to give you something. She goes, thank you for what you shared with me. I'm going to think about all of that. And she gave me a little Jesus. And I'll keep it the rest of my life, because you know what it means to be a Christian? It means to be a little Jesus. That's who you are. Don't be afraid when you hit the troubles, or if you are afraid. Go after the victor. Go to the mountain and watch what Jesus does. Miraculously, though you won't even understand it, because he did it for me. He'll do it for you as well. Just a couple more things quickly. Choose chaotic community. That's what Jesus did. He chose chaotic community. These messed up people that he chose. I love this. This is very funny. If you want to take a picture of it, it's going to be on the screen. This is an imaginary letter sent from a consulting firm to Jesus. Dear sir, thank you for submitting the resumes of the 12 men you have picked for managerial positions in your new organization. It is the staff opinion that most of your nominees are lacking in background, education, and vocational aptitude for the type of enterprise you are undertaking. Simon Peter is emotionally unstable and given to fits of temper. Andrew has absolutely no qualities of leadership. The two brothers, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, place personal interest above company loyalty. Thomas demonstrates a questioning attitude that would tend to undermine morale. We feel it's our duty to tell you that Matthew has been blacklisted by the Greater Jerusalem Better Business Bureau. James, the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus definitely have radical leanings, and they both registered a high score on the manic depressive scale. One of the candidates, however, shows great potential. A man of ability and resourcefulness, meets people well, keen business mind, contacts in high places, highly motivated, ambitious, and responsible. We recommend Judas Iscariot as your controller and right-hand man. Sincerely, Jordan Management Consultants. Listen, I know you don't feel qualified. Jesus is the one that makes you qualified. And he loves to take messed up people in unlikely places and change the whole stinking world. So go with him. Go with him. Choose chaotic community. You got to have this. You need it all the time. You need it more than you have it now. You need each other. And then last, keep the king and the kingdom first. Jesus goes down from the mountain. He doesn't go to the Senate, the Roman Senate. He doesn't go to Caesar. He could have appeared before them in blinding glory, and they would have been bowing before him. Doesn't do any of that. Doesn't go to the Roman Colosseum where all the crowds went for entertainment. He went to the people who were hurting, the lowest and the least, and he healed them, and he blessed them, and he loved them. So here's what you do when the troubles come. Heal hurts, battle evil, bless everyone. Just do that. Keep that right at the center. Don't let anything distract you, even the troubles that come. Heal hurt, battle evil, bless everyone, and watch what God will do. If you're going to do that, it's decision time. Some of you may have never made a decision to follow Jesus. This could be your day. Most of you have. Here's the deal, though. When troubles come, we have to decide all over again. We can't just decide once. And so I want to end with this absolutely amazing story in our own lives. And then we want to give you a few minutes to decide to follow Jesus. So Donna and I are in Croatia in the fall. And we'd never been to Croatia, knew nothing about it whatsoever. We're walking down the streets, ancient streets of the city of Rijeka, Croatia. And my wife doesn't hear very well. And I said, honey, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm wondering if the Lord's about to return because I think I'm hearing angels sing. Like I'm hearing like a hymn playing and voices, but it doesn't sound like, I don't understand the words. I don't know what's going on. She goes, you're losing your mind. I don't hear anything. And I wanted to go, well, you never hear anything, but that wouldn't have been wise. And it got louder and louder, and then suddenly we saw where it was coming from. Watch this little video and you'll see. I couldn't believe it. I found one person that spoke English. I'm trailing along behind them singing in English. And I said, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? One guy finally said in broken English, we are missionaries. And we come here and we march and we sing. And then we stop so people will talk to us. and decide to follow Jesus. We were so blown away because we had just decided to follow Jesus into a brand new ministry with our lives. And when that day was over, I thought, I wonder who first wrote that song. I wonder what it was like. I wonder what it meant. Since then, I've been asking people, have you heard this? Because I've researched it well. What I'm going to tell you is true. I found almost nobody that knew the song. And I told Mike about this, and he goes, I almost shared it last week. Let me tell you how one of the most famous hymns in the world was written. It wasn't a hymn. It wasn't a hymn at all. It comes from a tremendous story and a young man named Nakh Singh in the Assam tribal group of India. In the 19th century, missionaries led Nakh Singh to Jesus. And he knew that his tribal group was militantly violent about anything other than worshiping their ancestors. But he knew that he had no choice. And he went back and he began to share the gospel with others. The chief called him and his family in front of the whole tribe. And the chief said to him, Nakh Singh, you have committed the unpardonable sin. You have chosen another God other than our ancestors. You have one chance to deny him. And he called his archers, that these archers are going to shoot your 2 sons to death before your eyes. And Nakh Singh said, tears in his eyes, I have decided to follow Jesus. I'm not turning back. And he watched his sons shot to death. The chief said, your wife's still here. You have another chance to deny your faith. He said, though none go with me, I still will follow. There's no turning back for me. And he witnessed the death of his wife. And the chief said, you're next, unless you deny Jesus. And he said, the cross is before me now. The world's behind me. No turning back. And he laid down his life beside his family's. Sometime later, the chief was haunted in his dreams and called his tribe back together, that I have done a terrible thing. And now I too have decided to follow Jesus. And the entire group, the entire tribe came to faith in Jesus. And to this day, in that region of India, where many are persecuted by Hindus and Muslims, those precious descendants follow Jesus. Very unlikely that you will face that, but you face enough. You face enough. Looking into your eyes, I know some of your stories. You face enough. So here we are again, choosing to say, no matter what, I follow Jesus. Will you make that choice? Stand up with me if you would, please. If you've never made that choice at all, you can right now. You can right now. Pastor Mike's going to be here. He'll pray with you. You'll meet Jesus. But I need to make it today. I'm very tired, weary, and I'm so thankful. But I need to follow Jesus, and I need to make a decision again today. So you might want to join me. I'm coming right here. And while TC and Danielle lead us, maybe this is a time for you just to come and say, yes again, Lord. I have decided. Whatever troubles the enemy wants to come my way, whatever troubles you allow to come my way, Lord, I know you will turn them to good one day. And so for me, for my life, I have decided to follow Jesus. You want to come join me? Let's see what God will do with a small army of people in Salmon, Idaho who decide to follow Jesus. Let's sing.
I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back.